Well, it appears that U.S. foreign policy has had a change as of late. Now, the main goal used to be ousting the democratically elected and legitimate government of Venezuela in favor of the U.S. puppet, Juan Guaido. But apparently, after more than one failed coup, U.S. attention has now been shifted towards Iran. It seems like the strategy against Venezuela has been unsuccessful thus far, although I assume that many of the sanctions and bank blocking and other financial sanctions will remain in place. Now, a year ago, the U.S. left the JCPOA agreement without any just cause. All the European signatories and the International Atomic Energy Agency have all certified that Iran has followed the agreement to the letter and has done nothing to violate it. Yet, despite that, the United States and its partner, Israel, of course, have alleged that Iran violated, even presenting phony evidence to which the IAEA, the organization in charge of monitoring the whole thing, has dismissed as not being relevant to the investigation whatsoever. Now, Iran waited a year for the U.S. to return to the agreement. That time now being up, this was their strategic patience plan that they had, which seems to not have worked. Now, Iran is taking measures that is fully within their rights, according to the agreement. If the U.S. pulls out or another signatory pulls out without having any just cause, there are legal mechanisms. By that, I mean there are mechanisms, provisions within the agreement that Iran can take. That primarily being, if my memory serves me, sections 27 and 37 of the agreement. Now, as a result of this, Tehran has quadrupled its enrichment, its production of enriched uranium. They're not going beyond the level of enrichment which they're allowed. They're just increasing the amount that they are enriching, which is perfectly legal. They're not increasing the number of centrifuges. They're just producing more of it. Now, under the 2015 deal, Iran agreed to cap its stockpile of low-enriched uranium at 300 kilos. Now, anything that they enrich above that is stored overseas in another country, which is all perfectly allowed. So Iran is taking steps within their rights as a part of the agreement in order to deal with this. However, this is not something that the United States is willing to take. Now that Iran is starting to retaliate against the U.S. withdrawing unlawfully from the agreement, they're now threatening Iran, claiming that Iran is doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. And even some people on the floor in the Senate, in other mainstream political arenas of U.S. politics, are even denouncing Trump for not continuing with the agreement. So, as a result of this, warships and bombers have been sent near Iran as an act of intimidation, to which the Iranian government responded. One of their missiles can destroy $1 billion worth of U.S. military hardware, vehicles, etc. So a war of words has certainly begun. Then Trump, being Trump, does something entirely undiplomatic, entirely unpresidential, which to me more or less lifts the veil of what it is that we're supposed to believe that bourgeois politics is, and says if Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran. Except the problem is that Iran doesn't want to fight, and they have stated repeatedly that they don't want to. This is entirely an act of provocation by the United States. And what's really interesting about this is this sounds very much like the rhetoric that was given to us before the Iraq War. Saddam didn't want a war. He didn't want to fight, basically because he knew he couldn't win. So why would he want to fight? And the U.S. came up with all these provocations, reasons to provoke, and then claimed that Iraq wanted to fight, essentially, and then came up with the lie about weapons of mass destruction in order to justify that invasion. Now, isn't that exactly what we're seeing right now? We're seeing this all over again. Iran doesn't want a war. They don't want to fight a war. They're not really in the condition to be able to fight one. But the U.S. keeps insisting that they want one, keeps taking military actions to provoke Iran, and then is coming up with lies in order to justify military hostility, that being the claim that they had nuclear weapons when they didn't. This is almost verbatim exactly what was done with Iraq. And it seems like we may be doing this all over again. So it's all like the history repeats itself, kind of phenomenon. And the question is, did we learn from the last one? Those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. Did we learn from the last one? Did we learn from the Iraq War that these wars are lies and step in and do something about it? That's going to be the question that gets answered in the next couple of months, maybe to a year. Are we going to go down the same path that we did once before because we didn't learn the first time? So the question is, are we going to learn the lesson? Are the people of America going to stop its government, its country, from going into another unjust war, killing how many millions of other innocent people? Because I guarantee you, a war with Iran is going to be bad. Iran is far more developed than Iraq was, has more capability of defending itself, etc. Of course, in the end, the U.S. will eventually win just because of its supply network and its ability to pull in the resources to carry out war. But the war itself is going to be far worse than it was with Iraq because of the ability to resist. Even more people are going to die. So what's it going to be, America? Are you going to stop your country from going to war this time? Or are you going to be doomed to repeat the past mistakes that you've already made? Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.